Perfect fit closets, how to use moldings. We'll be talking about our placement tool, as well talk about our top moldings. We have two sets. We have a front mounted as well as a top mounted. I have my 2020 platform open, and on the left-hand side, I have the Perfect Fit Canadian catalog. Let's take a quick look at the modules that I have in place. I have a walk-in closet with 3 elevations, 3 walls that we're working with. In this section here, we've got a window in the back wall. We've got some corner modules at the end, as well as we have modules on the left and right side. If we take a look at our schematics, starting with elevation 1, we have a 92 3/4 tall module and a 96-inch opening, and I also have a 3 1/4 inch variance from the very top fixed shelf to the ceiling. I have one tall module with 4 openings here, a corner module. Elevation 3, I've got a corner module, and now I have 4 modules. So 1 module with 1 opening for each, to give everybody an idea that's the differences that can happen, and it doesn't really matter. So 4 modules and 1 opening each. We're going to use our top view. We know that we have 92 3/4 for our tall module, and there is a 3 and change of variance. When we're adding moldings, we're going to be using the top view. I'm going to double click our categories, and in our categories, one of our main sections is our moldings. I'm going to double click our moldings, and in our moldings, we have 4 items. We've got placement tool that says use this to place toe and top moldings. We've got our top molding. We've got our toe molding, top molding, and valence molding. As described, we're going to talk about our top molding, and we're going to use our placement tool first. We have to let the program know where we want to add our top moldings. To do that, we're going to use this placement tool first. It's the only way to add it. We're going to double click our tool, and we have a TMP called top molding path, and we also have a TMPC, top molding path corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the TMP to each one of my modules, starting on elevation 1. Because I have one module with multiple openings, the TMP encompassed all of it in its entirety. If I do the bottom TMP here, we drag and drop, we can see that it's going to one module. We drop it into our second module, and I can just keep dragging and dropping. Once I'm done my TMPs, we can now add our TMPC for our corner path. Drag it in. Another dialog box appears, and let's just open up this variable column and value column. Shelf depth is 14, and we are connecting it to a top angled. We have angled corners here. We're going to click on OK and drop. We'll do it one more time on the corner. Let's see my magnet, let go of my mouse. Correct shelf depth is 14 inches, and it is a top angled shelf. We'll click on OK. Now that my TMPCs and TMPs have all been dropped, we can go back out to our molding sections and double click our top molding. The first section is our front mounted crown molding. If I double click this section, I have 4 items. First item says use placement tool for placements. This is an identifier reminding our designers to put the TMP first, which we already have. Next is I have flat molding 3 inches plus 4 inches. I have flat molding 3 inches plus 5 inches. And then we also have our other flat molding, which is 3 inches plus 6 inches. How these work is a 3D effect. We give you 2 pieces, that get mounted with one another. You can use a brad nail, screws, or adhesives, or a combination to combine these together. If we look at our elevation, and I'm going to draw this out, how the front mounted molding works is like so. So first, let me just grab my drawing tool. If we were going to add our front molding, we're going to give two pieces. So what's going to happen is it's going to have this first section, which is going to be connected to this front top thick shelf. And then we're going to have a second molding on top of that to create the 3D effect. Again, we're going to, so you can see that we have two pieces, a 3-inch plus 4, 3-inch plus 5, 3-inch plus 6. So if we take a look at this 3-inch plus 6, this is going to attach right to this front. And then we have a 3D effect where it pushes out and combine the two. So let's go ahead and start adding that in there. Using my top view, I have a variance of, let's take a quick peek, a variance of 3 and, see here, I think that's 3 and 11/16. 3 and an 1/8, my apologies. So this will fit just nicely, no problem at all. We can drag and drop. And once I see my magnet, I'm going to hover over the TMP. I'm going to let go of my mouse. Now it's going to ask me, where would you like to attach this to? Well, I want to attach it to the TMP. So I'm going to click on OK. And you can quickly see that it has already calculated the items needed. We don't really need an actual flat molding here, but this is extras. So in case the installer needs more. We can see that there's two lines because we have the 3-inch section plus the 4-inch section. These are called calculated items. So we can leave the two in long pieces, and then your installer will combine them together. Let's go ahead and add it to the very bottom TMP. Let go of my mouse. Yes, I want to left click and attach it to my TMP. Because all the TMPs are connected together, it will join them together. And that's all I have to do. Let's take a look at our perspective view. And let's take a look at the render. And let's go take our snipping tool and snip this just a little bit, just so that we can actually see our lines. And let's subtract the ceiling. We don't want the ceiling visible. Now we can actually take a quick peek. We can see from our TMP that it is now expanded. Actually, let's just zoom out ever so slightly. And we can see right there, we have two sections giving you a 3D effect. Let's add some lights just so people can see. We'll hover over my local browser, go to Room FUR. Double click my light features, and I'm going to click a suspended light, or actually let's click ceiling light. We have track lighting, and let's just add some track lighting. We're just going to drag and drop a few. All right, so now that we've added a bunch of lights, okay, now we can actually take a look back at our perspective view. Perfect. So now we can see it just a bit better here. And on the textured lines, you can actually see the textures on the back view that we have two types of molding attached to itself. So again, it really depends on your installer. They can use a combination of the two, either brad nails, fillers, and or adhesives to create your 3D look. This only applies if you have no doors. It's open. We need the fixed shelf at the very top so that we can adhere the molding to that. Now that is our front mounted. Let's go ahead and delete our sections. I'm just going to hit the undo button to undo the last couple. Oh, I do need my lights. So let's just delete it actually instead. We're going to go ahead and delete my flat moldings and delete my other flat molding. This time we're going to keep the TMPs in place. We're going to just do it again just so that everybody can take a quick peek. So to add any moldings, I need to do my TMPCs first and TMPs. So again, to recap, we're going to go into our local browser. We're going to click on our Perfect Fit Canadian catalog. We're going to double click our moldings, double click our placement tools. We're going to grab our TMP, TMPC for the corner. A new dialog box appears. Yes, we do want 14 inches and it's for a top angled shelf. Same thing again. I'm just going around the room, clicking on OK, and my TMPC here. Left click, dragging in, drop, and left click. Now we can go back to our moldings, and now we're going to click our top molding and top mounted crown molding. We have a flat 4-inch, we have a flat 5-inch, and a flat 6-inch. You can see from the information description, we're only giving you one piece. These are great filler pieces if you have cabinet doors. So let's add one cabinet door here. To showcase this, I'm going to go ahead and delete these hanging rods just for a quick moment. And let's just say that we have actual shelves here. Just an example. So let's grab a few shelves. We're going to drop it in. And now we're going to go to double click our parts, doors, and we're going to add a door. Oh, let's just move it ever so slightly. We're going to resize the height. We want to go all the way to the very top if we can. So that's fine. So we've added a door here. Now I can't add a front mounted crown molding because we need the top fixed shelf. Because we actually have doors, I only have one option for moldings. And the only option that I have is the top mounted molding. So double click categories, back into moldings, click on top molding. We're going to go top mounted. And now we can click a 4-inch, 5-inch, or 6-inch. I have a 3-inch and change variance. So I can easily add a 4-inch or 5-inch. This really depends on the designer and the installer. Some installers like to have more material so they can cut it easier with their table saw. Some other installers say less is more. So please talk to your installer and see what kind of a filler that you'd like to do. So let's go ahead and add a 4-inch filler. We're going to drag and drop. And now we're going to add it to our TMP. Left click OK. And again, it does the exact same thing. Left click flat molding 4-inch, drop it into my TMP, left click TMP, and again, it gets calculated. If you go into the show item list, the list will come up, but this is going to be underneath calculated items. It won't show up here in our regular items tab. If we go to calculated items, we can see that the entirety of the flat 4 molding we've calculated based on linear feet. And in total, we're going to give you a quantity of 5 pieces and a total of $93.75 for the entirety of the project. So again, this is one of those items where it's a calculated items, and that's where you can find it in the show item list. We're going to go back into show design. If you have a bigger variance between the very top fixed shelf and the ceiling, then obviously I would always give a bigger molding. If I had a 4-inch gap, I would never put a 4-inch molding because we want the installer to scribe it right to the wall. Especially with ceilings, there's a lot of gaps with the ceilings. A lot of times the drywall will kind of sag a little bit there because of the weight. So it's always best to oversize your molding whenever you add it in there and have the installer scribe it to the wall. Once again, this is Perfect Fit Closets, talking about our moldings. We're talking about our placement tool. And we described to you today on how to use our top molding, either the front mounted with a 3D effect, or the top mounted, where essentially it's just a filler. And this really applies to any design. But if you do have cabinet doors, top mounted is the only possibility that you can have. If you have any questions, please contact us at support@perfectfitcanada.com.